We can tell you nothing about the actual episode, only that it is apparently the very last, more on that later. No more Halaldi for one. According to the BBC, the show is being held back as a surprise for viewers. The BAFTA award-winning comedy has Peter and Sian reprising their roles as John Redmond and Kaylee Kitson. If you didn't know the setup, and there must be someone who doesn't, the couple are forced to commute together in a supermarket car share scheme. Driving to and from work to the sounds of fictional and hilarious radio station Forever FM. Their antics, singing, dancing and riffing have kept a nation entertained as they slowly became closer with successive journeys. More significantly, there was also a scene with a monkey on the roof, one of the best TV moments I've seen. It's been an emotional journey over 2 series. Car share viewers were left in dismay last year after Kaylee finally admitted her true feelings for John, but he refused to say how he felt as she stepped out of his car and seemingly out of his life for good. Fans immediately set up an online petition demanding a conclusion to the series. More than 100,000 people signed up. Tomorrow's finale will reveal just what happens to John and Kaylee, and whether they finally get together. When the show was announced last autumn, Peter said, "We were completely overwhelmed by the response, and even though we've no plans to write a 3rd series, we knew we couldn't end the story there." And fans would agree. The ratings have been well in excess of the 100. If the BBC could commission another full series, no one would complain. Oh, who signed the petition? Any interview with Peter and Sian will inevitably unfold like an episode of Car Share itself. The end of the last series had viewers raging, so will this new episode have the same effect? Who knows? Says Peter with a shrug. I just hope they won't be screaming at the telly again. Adds Sian, even I was screaming at the telly and I knew what happened. They were both surprised to hear that fans had set up a petition which, in TV terms, rarely has the desired effect. Yes, that was crazy, says Sian. Suggests Peter, you'd never believe that it'd ever have that kind of effect. A petition. Quips Sian, I signed it. Twice. But, jokes aside, if that's possible, viewers, we suggest, really did care about the characters, thanks to its greater depth than your typical sitcom. Says Peter. Yes, and that is incredibly flattering. We always knew the 2nd series would end that way, and we thought people might be a bit miffed but never thought they would be so devastated. We decided to write another episode that hopefully gives the characters a resolve, and I thought let's hold this back until the repeat of the 2nd series. It was hard to keep it a secret after the reaction we got, but we never said that there wouldn't be any more car shares. We just said there wouldn't be a 3rd series. What has been the funniest scene to film? Says Sian, the scenes when we were dressed as Harry Potter and Hagrid giving Elsie, the female Smurf, a lift home from a work stew, at which point, Peter adds, oh yeah, they were almost as hard as the ones with Reese Shearsmith as Stingray in the 1st series, but how did they end up casting Conleth Hill, who plays Lord Varys in Game of Thrones, as Elsie? You are just constantly up laughing, reveals Sian. While writing that episode we kept thinking about female actors like Julie Walters or Kathy Burke, but then Peter suggested Conleth. Continues Peter, Conleth and I became very good friends after I met him while I was in the producers. I really think he's one of the funniest, most naturally talented people I know. He had already played Geraldine's mum in Britain's Got the Pop Factor, so I knew he could play a woman and I thought it'd be a lot of fun. Luckily he wasn't working on Game of Thrones, so was able to do it. Peter admits, however, that he's never seen a full episode of the fantasy drama. I saw a bit of one once, he says, some bloke with a cage tied to his face getting his nose gnawed off by a rat. So we didn't want any of that, because my mum watches it. But Conleth was hilarious and we just couldn't film the scenes for laughing. We even had to come back the next night to finish filming it and we still laughed. There are some great outtakes. The duo discuss their fondest memories about filming the series, including Peter cooking many salmon stir-fries when Sian would visit his house where she was waited on hand and foot. Adds Peter, I loved the whole process, from start to finish, but editing is my favorite. One person who shouldn't be overlooked is Matt Brown. He edited the whole series and creatively he added a lot of detail. I'll miss working with him until the next project. Finally, a hint that this may not be the last, or at least that another potential sitcom, written by them, may be in the pipeline. What is the next project? Says Sian, that'd be telling. with Peter adding that, "Is this really the end of car share then? The news is encouraging. Hopefully it will happen," says Sian, "never say never." And the final word to Peter, "Well, unless you're waiting on an invite to Sian's house." Peter K's car share, the finale, tomorrow night, 10 p.m, BBC One.